we are all constantly around people who are living out the unbalanced expressions of things that we have in our openness and things that we have electromagnetics to. Your partner or the person you're in relationship with can present the unbalanced expression of a gate that you have the electromagnetic to. And it's not about you amplifying that expression. And I think that's an important piece to understand. Let's think of it this way. You are amplifying the archetype. You're not amplifying their expression. You can, if you're not being conscious, if you're conditioned, and you probably are, if it's an electromagnetic for you, you've probably been conditioned by that gate. And it's going to trigger in you your stored memory of that archetype. But in theory, when we look at it mechanically, you're not amplifying, oh, my partner's doing the low expression of the gate 10. When I'm in his energy, I don't love myself because he doesn't love himself. That's not how it works. What that means is that when you stand in that gate 10 energy, you're experiencing the energy of self-love, the archetype of self-love. You're not experiencing their expression of that archetype. You're experiencing the archetype. You get to choose how you're going to experience the archetype. So I want to go back because this seems to be our theme for today. I want to go back and just review this for a minute because it's so important. And it really is probably one of the biggest differences between traditional human design and quantum human design. Openness, when we have openness, and that can be centers, that can be channels, that can be gates. When we have openness, and we go out into the world and we experience other people's definition where we have openness, literally it's like we're taking a basket, and every time we encounter that energy, we're putting our experience, this gem of this experience, in our basket. And eventually over time, you end up with this basket full of all of these different ways, all of these gems, if you will, of these different encounters that you've had with this energy. So let's say you have a basket, you have the gate 10 open, and you've gone through your life experiencing different people with the gate 10 and different expressions of that gate 10 energy. You've been collecting all of those experiences, all those understandings of that gate 10 over the course of your life. When you are not deconditioned, when you're still living out from your reactive, conditioned script, when you encounter the gate 10 energy, you're going to react with the amplified shadow aspect of that energy because you don't understand from your conditioned perspective that you actually have choice. The more you decondition, the more you clear your own story about who you are and how you are, the more you get to have the freedom to go into that basket every time you encounter that gate 10 and choose, oh, I liked it when I encountered the gate 10 from this person, and this person really knew how to love themselves and really was strong in that conviction of their self-love, and they took all the actions necessary that they needed to really express that self-love. That's a good memory. That's a good way for me to draw on this memory when I choose my own expression of my open gate 10. You have choice in your openness, but that choice doesn't happen until you decondition, number one. And then number two, I think oftentimes you have to stop when we encounter those energies and go, okay, this is not mine, but in the face of this energy, I'm going to choose to express this archetype in the way that I choose. I'll add one other piece. We talk about definition and openness through the lens of sustainable expression and unsustainable expression. You probably, hopefully you cannot hear what I'm hearing, but there are things happening behind the wall over here, as usual. So openness, wherever we have openness, we have the capacity to use energy in our openness, but we can't hold it. So if we go back and we think about the open sacral, right? If you have an open sacral, you can borrow sacral energy. You can ride it, but you can't sustain it over time. That's why if you have an open sacral and you go hang out with a bunch of generators, at a certain point, you're going to be like, need a nap, right? But what happens over time, and I want to stress this clearly, over time, after you've deconditioned, Your memory of an archetype, means you can actually borrow that energy without even being present to it for short periods of time because you have a memory of it. So I think the example that I've shared a lot in different courses and classes, but I'll just share this one with you all because it's an easy one to understand. I have an open will center. I was raised in a family with my sister, my brother, my mother, my father, all have defined will centers, and everybody has a gate 51, except for me. I don't, right? I know that gate 51 inside and out. I sit at the dinner table when I go home to visit my parents, and it is just shocking, provocative stuff nonstop. I do not have the gate 51 defined in my chart. I have a good memory of it. I don't use it very often, but every once in a while, especially as a mom of a teenager, or every once in a while when there are some clients that really need my 51. I've had some business coaching clients recently that really needed me to just be like, okay, truth time. We're just gonna down to the mat. Let's call it what it is. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. Right, here you go. I can borrow that energy. I can't sustain it. I can't live through in the world as a shocking person. I'm not a shocking person, right? It's just not who I am. I'm a cookie baking person. But I can borrow that energy if I need to every once in a while. So over time, after you learn how to manage and regulate your own experience of that archetype when you encounter it in your openness, you can go to the next phase and actually know that, oh, in the human story, these are the archetypes in the human story. I don't have this archetype as part of my soul curriculum, as part of my theme in my own story, but I'm going to choose to use it right now for a very short period of time because that's what's called for in this situation.